All right. So, one of my biggest fears is being on camera, being in front of stage, and being in front of an audience and messing up. And that's been my biggest fear. And right now, my biggest fear, right when I pushed that live button, was what if the microphone doesn't work? It could be not. I mean, the microphone might not be working right now, and I'm just going to go talk for 10 minutes, and hopefully you can hear me. All right. So today I'm going to share a little bit about some of my stories as to why I have confidence issues. And I'm not saying you're going to have the same problems. I'm saying you're going to have similar stories or stories that kind of connect, that make your fears as relevant and as what they are today, right? A lot of people do not get in front of the camera because they're afraid that they're going to mess up. And I fear that all the time, right? I am not a natural speaker. I have these fears, number one, from Canada. And you know how Americans like to make fun about Canadians and how slow they are? You know, South Park, and you talk like this. It's not true at all. When I was in school, I want to say I was third or fourth grade. We're in Oakland. We just moved from Canada. And we're in class, and I was really proud of this project that I was doing. And I wanted to go show my teacher. And it's like this little piece of paper, and I was drawing on it, and we are doing planets. I remember because we were using a compass, the little thing with the protractor or whatever it's called. And I was like, look at this. Isn't this great? Look at what I did. And she made fun of me because there was holes in it. It was sloppy. It was like this. And all the kids were laughing at me. And from that day on, I was just, the worst thing I could ever do was get up in front of an audience and talk, or, you know, be the highlight or the focus of attention of a group of people, because that one story just destroyed me. And from a point of, I don't know, I guess, you know, as a child, you have pride. You want to be proud of the work you do. And then you have a teacher that knocks you down. And I'm sure you've had 20 or 30 teachers, because I've had 5 or 10 do that through my entire life. But that was the one that really hits home and hurt the most. And, you know, you go through whatever and you figure it out and you forgive and you move on. But that scar hurt me as a student in my life. I was always fearful for getting up in front of an audience and talking. And I have an opportunity to do a couple talks here in the next couple months, get in front of an audience, and that little boy is coming up and telling me, you're not worth it. And I go back to him and I think, I put my big boy pants on and I'm a better person. And I can do this. And I do it. So, you know, I can get up in front of an audience today, but I wasn't always that confident or as good or decent or mediocre about getting in front of an audience, because I trip up on words. Sometimes I feel like I'm slow. Sometimes I feel like I'm not 100% the smartest person in the room, but that's okay. You know, I mean, the whole reason is you're never going to be the smartest person in the room. You're never going to be the person that knows the most, right? You know the most about what you're talking about. And another story that really hit home and scared me into becoming a big boy, an adult, is when I was in publishing. I'd just gotten out of the Marines. I was in the reserve still, and I got a job in publishing. I was selling ads and webinars, emails, all that stuff, and got my first senior job at Test and Measurement World, the most exciting magazine in the world. And I had to do a presentation. I did a presentation in front of my peers, my boss, my boss's boss, editors, my company, the client, which was HP at the time, and then the agency, which was Think New Ideas, I believe. And I practiced. Well, at least I thought I did. I practiced and I practiced and I practiced. I knew what I wanted to say. I knew everything. I knew stories and innuendo, little thoughts and things to bring it home. I practiced everything for weeks because I knew this was coming up. And we actually all flew up to Seattle. It was a big dog and pony show the big company that I worked for to go help out the other big company that we were selling to. And the night before, I practiced for 3 hours. I knew everything that I wanted to say, and I got in front, and it was time for me to talk. And I started talking. I got in a couple, 3 slides, and I forgot everything. I was so scared. I stopped thinking. I didn't know what to say. I looked at everybody. I just got nervous. I blanked out, and my editor luckily took over and finished it up. And that was the most embarrassing professional point in my life ever that happened. And that still hurts me today. So my boss comes up to me and says, "Vito, what are you going to do?" I thought he was going to fire me. And I said, "I'm going to go and take a professional speaking class." I said, "Okay, get it done, because if you don't," I go, "Yes, sir." Turn around. And at that time, I still hadn't finished my degree. So I went to Dale Carnegie, took a speaking class. I brought in my peers. I brought in a group boss, and we had some fun out of it. And it put a lot of stuff into perspective, meaning I knew that I was going to mess up, and you just have to let that roll off your back, just like a duck in water, right? You're going to mess up. You're going to have to figure out that you are going to mess up, and you're going to be okay with it. And I mean, throughout this last 7 minutes, I messed up probably 6 or 7 times. Didn't know what I want to say, how to transition, what words. I could try to think of a big word. That just didn't happen. So I'm okay with it. When you're doing video, you don't have to be live. You don't have to do that. You can just record and make a mistake and then start over again, and then do it over again and do it over again until you like it. It doesn't have to be perfect. Case in point, when I was getting married, I was nervous. I'm sure my wife was nervous. We were all kind of, figuring it out as we were going along, and the ceremony started, and the pastor was talking, and we were looking at each other, and I was like, "This is great." And there's my family and my friends. And then the pastor goes, "Vito," repeat after me, "with this ring I thee wed." And you guess it. I said, "With this wing I thee read." And I looked at the pastor, I looked at my wife, and I looked at my audience, and I said, "Did I just say that?" And everybody laughed, and I laughed, and Jill laughed, and the pastor laughed. And that put it into such perspective that I mess up, that I realized that you can mess up and people are okay with it. So I shared with you a few stories about my fears and my messing up, and the fact that I got through life, and here I am today. I'm 54. I'm turning 55 this year. I can get up in front of an audience. I do outreach for the veterans programs at San Jose State. I do all sorts of different talks. And I know I'm not perfect. I'm not the most glamorous speaker, but one day I will be. And I'll reach out to that. I have those goals. But the idea, guys, is if you're fearing getting on camera because you're going to mess up or you don't know what to say, we're here to help you. We're here to do that and put it in perspective. All right. That's all I wanted to say. Hope you're having a great day. Get in front of that camera, and we'll burn the bridge. We'll burn the boats, and we'll talk about that tomorrow. Okay. See you. Bye.